Hey everyone, and welcome back to Tech Bytes, tips and resources for educators, brought to you by MASSP. My name is Ryan Casey. Today I've got a different Tech Byte for you. I'm not focusing on an app or a special engagement tool. Today we're going to be heading over to a really cool website whose sole purpose is to help students apply critical thinking skills in terms of information, or I should say misinformation and bias that comes from different media outlets. The website is called All Sides, and it's a great tool for English or ELA teachers, social studies teachers, really other content area teachers as well, to give students the opportunity to evaluate and analyze different source materials based on their political bias that they have. So it's a really cool website, and I think you're going to enjoy this edition of Tech Bytes, so let's check it out. So I am at the website for All Sides, which is allsides.com. That's ALLSIDES.com. And at its heart, it really does a good job of just collecting a variety of different articles and fact-checking, blog items, if you will. And it helps to try and categorize based on its bias in terms of where on the political spectrum does it land, from left-leaning to center to right. So it really is, as I mentioned, a collection of different news items, and it tries to categorize those items. So you can have students read the same article or content, if you will, from a left-leaning publication, center, and right-leaning publication. And students then can have a really rich classroom discussion about what are some of the things that they noticed or that differ between the different articles. And they have all sorts of popular topics related to not just politics, but other things that are going on around the country. And again, you can jump in and look for ones that are purely on the left, purely on the center, purely on the right. And you can pull up, here is one on how Biden will run. And this is from the center. And then you can click to read the full story. It might actually take you to that website sometimes. But the nice part is it's a pretty easy way to just get back, because usually it opens it in a new tab. So that's kind of the most basic thing you can do with All Sides, is just look at a collection of news articles based on where their bias lands. So for students to kind of gain a better understanding as to how bias and misinformation works, the website actually has it divided into two different areas on their navigation area. So let's check out media bias first. And this is really cool because it breaks down how All Sides ranks or rates the different publications. So if we look at the different ratings that are available, it'll show everything from very left to very right. And what's really cool is it takes all of these different news sources and it has them ranked based on their category here. And what's really cool is, based on the community of people who have an All Sides or contribute to All Sides, the website, you can see how many people agree with that classification. Again, how many agree would be in various forms of green, versus where maybe some of them disagree a little bit. Maybe it's not quite as accurate as where they have ranked. And I mean, all of the popular news outlets are on here. So that's a really, really cool way to see how the bias works. There's also even a chart, which kind of gives you a nice visual from left to right where some of these websites rank, or some of these publications rank. And I think you could probably argue maybe some of these aren't right in the center. They should be one to the left or one to the right. But I don't think there are any from this list that you would see that go, man, that should be 2 or 3 to the other direction. I think they're pretty accurate. Here's how it even works in terms of fact checking, because some of these organizations offer a fact check service. Again, you can see how their fact checking even leans, not just the news outlet itself. And then there's even a really cool option on here where you can even go through and rate your own bias. And there's some links to some other tools that some other websites offer where a student can go through and figure out where their kind of political spectrum has them land, which is really cool, and what articles might match that. It also goes on to talk about different types of media bias and some of the different terms that are used in that area. So that is all things related to media bias. There's also a section on the website that focuses on misinformation. And it does a really nice job of really just explaining to students what misinformation is. And it has some focused articles or blogs that identify some different outlets that are providing that incorrect information. So here you can click on any of these to read from the authors about what's being identified as misinformation. How do you spot misinformation? So this is good lesson material for students and links to check out on how to analyze and spot that incorrect info themselves. There's also, up on this main navigation area, going back to a little bit talking about the news, they do have it arranged by various topics. So a lot of very divisive topics here, and even more along the right-hand side. So that you should really be able to find something that can get your students passionate about, whether they fall to the left or the right or are centered. So really cool topics there. And then the last thing from this website I want to show you, some of the different services that they actually do offer. They do have something related to education. So they offer some classroom activities that you can check out, and they even have some sample lesson plans that you can use as well, whether it's through the story of the week or a blog or certain topics and dictionary items, things related to critical thinking and different other types of skills. As I mentioned, lesson plans centered around hot button words, free speech, and there's even materials and learning outcomes that they provide. So really cool resource depending on the content you want to cover in your class. So that's about it in terms of all of the different items you can check out on allsides.com. It really is a free service. I would say the only negative I see is there are some ads that kind of pop up on the page. It makes it a little clunky at times. But you can make a free account and you can receive kind of the story of the week newsletter that gets sent right to your email weekly. If you want to have an actual membership where you can save different stories that you want to pull out and highlight, you can do that. And there's some pricing information listed there. Otherwise, you can do the old-fashioned method and just save the article when it takes you to that website in your toolbar, or copy and paste it on a Google Doc. But really great free website that accepts donations too if you end up using it a lot. But I hope you really enjoyed this Tech Bite. Remember, you can see this Tech Bite and other videos at our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/MASSP. Really appreciate you all watching, and we'll send you the next one next month. Take care.